The Montreal Canadiens have won the draft lottery, which means, the consensus number one pick in the upcoming NHL draft is Shane Wright from the Kingston Frontenacs in the OHL. So let's see if it shows the stats here. So yeah, 108 points in 63 games. I tanked the season so I could get him, drafted him first overall, traded like 5 first-round picks. But basically what we're going to be doing in this video is simulating Shane Wright's rookie season within NHL 22 and seeing how he plays, if he can lead them to the playoffs, and maybe even do a freshman season for him. But there it is, Shane Wright, first overall, first round draft pick for the Montreal Canadiens, that franchise centerman that they've been looking for. I have him playing on the wing here just because Suzuki has grown really nicely, 88 overall. But the team for year one with Shane Wright will be Shane Wright on that left hand side. I also put him as high franchise potential just so we can get a little bit of growth here, since we're not doing a long-term simulation here. But, high franchise potential. He should grow to an 85 to 87 area. He's got superstar X Factor, 6'2", 195. Here are all of his stats. It's the base stats that come in the updated rosters for NHL 22. But he'll be playing with Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. No superstar X Factors there, which is kind of weird, especially how Brendan Gallagher has a superstar X Factor. But what do I know? Josh Anderson on the second line with Christian Dvorak and Brendan Gallagher. Third line, Mason McTavish. I have no clue how he's on this team. My GM must have done a trade for us. But Mason McTavish, Mike Hoffman, who will not be playing center, and then Jonathan DROUIN on the other wing. I'll keep him on the right side. And then Evgeny Sveshnikov, Rem Pitlick, and Ryan Poling. So again, probably someone our GM traded for here. And then defensively, Romanov, Shea Weber, Dennis Savard, Jeff Petrie, Kyle Clegg, and Joel Edmondson. And then, of course, in the nets, we got Carey Price looking like Michael Jackson. But make sure he's on the power play here. So Shane Wright, power play. There he is, first line power play center. Love to see that. So let's simulate year number one. I'll probably stop halfway through and see how he's doing. But actually, let's go slow sim game number one of Shane Wright's career and see if he can get on the board right away. So he will be playing the game number one versus a tough team, the Washington Capitals. Shane Wright versus Alexander Ovechkin. And just to clear there, I do not think that this team's going to make the playoffs. Like, I think there's absolutely no way. But, I've been surprised before. But he is on home ice for game number one. The Washington Capitals visiting the Montreal Canadiens. First period, 2-0, and Shane Wright scores his first goal of the season, first goal of his career in his first game. Nick Suzuki gets one also, so he may have an assist, a goal and an assist. Second period, Shane Wright scores his second of the game, and third period here. Let's do a slow simulation and see if Shane Wright can complete the hat trick in his first ever game. TJ Oshie gets a goal for the Caps, but still a 3-2 lead for the Canadiens, getting outshot pretty heavily here, and Justin Schultz ties up the game. 38 shots to 21. Come on, Montreal. Shane Wright, you got one more in you. Can you pull it? Overtime. Can't get anything done in overtime, but we do take the win in shootout, 4-3. Shane Wright, 2 goals, 0 helpers, but what a start to his career. 34 games into the season, and the rookie season isn't going great for Shane Wright here, as they are 15-19, 3-7 in the last 10 games. His points, 23 points in 34 games, minus 10. He was off to a hot start in the beginning, but ever since then, looks like he's trailed off just a little bit. But 23 points in 34, not the worst. Hopefully he can clean it up here. Let's get another slow simulation in against a divisional rival, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the first round exit Leafs. I'm so sorry to all Leafs fans. I was rooting for them. I wanted Spezza to go past the first round, but just wasn't in the cards this year. But the Montreal Canadiens open up the scoring right away from Shea Weber. Rest of the first period, still 1-0. Second period, Wayne the Train Simmons scores. And third period, Suzuki gets a goal, but 3 goals back to back for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Morgan Riley, Mitch Marner, and William Nylander as they take this game 4-2. We had a pretty good game, but just couldn't score on Peter Mrazek. Let's get the simulation going. I'll go to the trade deadline here, and then I'll check up once again. Coming into the final stretch of the season, we've actually turned it around here. 33-29-0. Unfortunately, if 5 of those losses were overtime losses, that would be huge. But, 2 points out of a playoff spot right now, which is not crazy since we were off to a terrible start. And it looks like Suzuki's coming back, so hopefully Shane Wright has also elevated his play. 49 points in 62 games. Now just a -4 from a -10. So he's turning it around. He's definitely going to get to potentially 30 goals. I think he might get to that 30 goal plateau, which is pretty good for a rookie. But looking at the rest of the rookies here in the NHL, let's see where he matches up. So will he win the Calder Trophy? It looks like it's a tight battle between him, Holt, and EKLUND. He probably will edge out. But let's continue this simulation here and see if they can make the playoffs in year number 1. With year number 1 of Shane Wright's career in the books, it looks like the Montreal Canadiens were unable to make the playoffs. They did have a little bit of a resurgence, so you know what? I'm going to do one more season, his freshman season, see how he plays. So with year number 1, he ends up with 60 points. He does get that 30 goal plateau, -8, so a little bit shaky towards the end of the year. Not a lot of power play points there. So not his best work, but 60 giveaways, only 28 takeaways. Hopefully it can be a little bit better next year. Let's check what he grew to and see if he wins the Calder Trophy, actually. So if we go to the entire league here, and then rookie skaters, it looks like he also probably will lose the Calder Trophy as Holtz comes through, outpoints him. But he might get it just because he had 30 goals. But we'll have to wait and see there. But what overall is Shane Wright now after the first year? Let's take a look at it. Lines, 87 overall. So next year, I think will be a really good year for him. So let's continue the simulation. We're going to get to next year, and we'll see if he can bounce back in his second year and lead the Montreal Canadiens to that Covenant Stanley Cup. In Shane Wright's second year in the NHL, he is now up to an 89 overall at 19 years old. He'll be playing with William Eklund and Nick Suzuki. Got Kevin Fiala, Christian Dvorak, and Cole Caulfield also on the line. Can put Caulfield there, but Eklund we traded for just to bolster up that top line. Hopefully get someone who can play alongside Shane Wright and Suzuki. Fiala we brought in from free agent. Same thing with Michael Bunting, 86, Mason McTavish, Brendan Gallagher, Svechnikov, Rem Pitlick, and Ryan Poling. Defensively, not the strongest, but we got Uyghur in free agency. Shea Weber's getting old. Dennis Savard, Romanov, Edmondson, and Kyle Clegg. And of course, in the nets, Carey Price. So let's get into year number 2 with Shane Wright here. And of course, we got to simulate the first game. So let's jump to the regular season here and see if Shane Wright can once again score 2 in the first game, or 3. I wouldn't be mad with 3 goals. This time we have the Boston Bruins, another divisional rival, in game 1 this year. On home ice still though, 1-1 after the first. We get a shorthanded goal from Eklund. Phil the Thrill Kessel back in Boston. And third period, we fall as Zaboral gets 1. And we start off the year 0-1, but same thing as last year. Let's simulate a couple. We'll simulate to the trade deadline here, make the season go a little bit quicker, and see where everyone is in the stats. With the second year in the books, the Montreal Canadiens are back in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Let's take a look at the team and how everyone performs. So Shane Wright finishes above a point per game, 92 overall. Still a -7, 30 power play points, so that's the big difference. 33 goals, 51 helpers, so 84 points. Last year was good for 61, so a little bit better. The plus-minus got better as well. I want to see his takeaways to giveaways ratio here. So, much better than last year. Less giveaways and almost 3 times the takeaways, which is phenomenal. So, love to see the growth there. He is up to a 92 overall now. Here are his stats. 5-star everywhere except for physical skating and defense. I would assume that skating would eventually get to 5-star, but his endurance apparently is absolutely horrendous. Come on, Shane Wright, get into the gym. Let's go. But playoffs now. We got the Florida Panthers, not the easiest road, if I'm being honest here. The Florida Panthers, good team. Let's simulate a couple of games here and see how we do. They do have home ice advantage, up 2-0. We win 2 overtime games, so those are big games. 3-1, 3 chances to close out this series, lose an overtime game. Another one. Please don't do it like this. We were up 3-1. Game 7. Home ice advantage for Florida. First period, they get the first goal. Second period, Shane Wright gets a goal. And heading into the third period, getting outshot pretty heavily here. But it is a 1-1 game. We just need a goal. Dennis Sanko gets one for Florida to make it 2-1. Do Montreal. This is over. Lose 4-1. So first round elimination, unfortunately. Let's simulate to the end of the playoffs here to see the trophies before we call it quits. But Shane Wright, 4 goals, 1 assist, 5 points in 7 games. I mean, not bad. Pretty impressive for the first round. Again, we'd like to see him above a point per game and probably a plus player, but the Boston Bruins are Stanley Cup champions. So a quick little wrap up here. Let's see if he did win the Calder last year. So awards, nothing for us there, of course. So individual awards, not going to win that. The Hart goes to Nikita Kucherov, Norris to Tony DeAngelo, and the Calder goes to Holtz last year. Connor Bedard this year, makes sense. Conn Smythe, David Pastrnak, and it doesn't look like we're going to win any hardware, but that's completely okay. So Shane Wright up to a 94 overall, I just saw. So he's going to be a beast. What do you guys think about Shane Wright? How good is he going to be? Who's his NHL comparable? But those are his first 2 seasons according to NHL 22. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day. See ya.